Well, it's exciting to get started with another fall. We certainly have a lot to learn about our team, and we got some interesting battles going on, probably from a couple different positions that are involved. Our pitchers obviously need to throw. We got some holes to fill, or we lost some very good players from a year ago, and Gene Cone had a great year. Dom had a great year. A number of guys played very, very well at a high level that aren't here anymore. Marcus Mooney was a fixture for us, and DC provided great leadership. So we got a number of questions to answer this fall, and it's very, very important that we get started, that we can kind of answer those questions, especially from a leadership standpoint. With that being said, I do feel like I got a pretty good team, talented team, some exciting newcomers that are anxious to get out there and play and show us what they can do. And, we got some other guys that have been here a couple years that will be in the fight for some new positions and maybe moving around a little bit, that want to show they can play every day instead of just playing part of the time. So all in all, we've had a great month of preseason workouts, both in the weight room, on the field. I feel like I have an idea of what type of ability our players have and possess, but I'm anxious to see our hitters face live pitching, and I'm certainly anxious to see our pitchers get out there on the mound and throw to our hitters. It should be a fun fall for our players and fun fall for our coaches, and we're anxious to get that started today.
Questions? Brian.
As you get started, is it going to be more like you've done in the past, or are you going to be more situational with some of these scrimmages, or how do you plan to go about that?
This weekend, we're just going to play. We got a couple guys that are banged up. Justin Rose, shortstop from California, is not going to play this weekend. A couple of our catchers are a little bit banged up, so we're going to be easy on their arms. So we might not steal a lot of bases and that kind of thing. We're going to protect some guys. That being said, we're going to play. It's not going to be a situation in which, I put first and second on out there and nobody out or whatever. We're going to play baseball, and if a young player makes a mistake or something like that, and I feel he needs to learn from it, we might have a do-over here and there. But it'll be straight baseball, and I got to try to see what we have and how they react to playing against each other with certain situations, and how they play defense, how they run the bases. All those things are important, and it's my first chance to see a lot of those guys play against this type of competition. So I hope to learn a lot about our players this fall. Starts today.
John?
You mentioned Rowe. What was kind of the dynamic at the shortstop position? What are you looking for there? Who are some of the guys who are trying to replace Marcus?
Well, the good news is, there's a number of talented guys. LT Tolbert was recruited to play shortstop when we recruited him, and he's certainly a talented middle infielder that I think has gotten a lot better over the summer. He's a little bit banged up today too and won't hit. He's got a little bit of a pulled lat, so we'll let him play defense this weekend, but he won't hit. But Justin Rose, certainly a candidate to play. We love what he's about and how he plays. He's a little bit like, in stature like Mooney, maybe a little bit thicker, a little bit stronger. Very, very good offensive player, and I've liked what I've seen from Justin so far. Jacob Olson, a junior college kid, is a talented athlete as well. And I love the way Madison Stokes has played shortstop early in the first 3 or 4 weeks here. He's looked impressive to me. Again, it's just individual workouts. So those 4 guys are kind of going to get some time at short, and we'll let those guys battle it out, and then we'll kind of narrow that down. A couple of those guys are obviously very versatile and can play a number of different positions. And out of those 4, hey, all of them might be on the field at the same time, once the spring gets here, because they're all pretty good players. But only one of them can play shortstop, and we'll let the fall kind of figure that part of it out.
Matt?
Who are some newcomers in particular that you're kind of excited about and think have a chance to make an immediate impact?
Well, you never ever know. All our guys that we recruited, we feel have the talent to make an impact, or we wouldn't have recruited them. But Rowe and Olson are 2 guys that are older that we love what they've done so far. Obviously, Carlos Cortez has gotten a lot of publicity, and we certainly loved what we've seen from Carlos. He certainly looked like he's going to be a good player for us. Riley Hogan. We got a number of guys. Especially young arms, Ryan Hare, Sawyer Bridges. there's a lot of guys that we want to get out there, and I don't want to leave anybody out. Jonathan John's a talented left-handed pitcher. That we're again, so one of the neat things about recruiting is sometimes guys that you're counting on that you think in the recruiting process are going to play every day, maybe they're not quite ready. Other guys that you think when you're recruiting them, they might need a year, all of a sudden they're ready. That's just the beauty of our sport, But we feel good about all our guys. And, Joey Pollock's a good-looking player. And Hogan, they look like really legitimate first basemen. I mean, he popped the ball out of the park pretty regularly in batting practice. But now we're going to see how they react to live pitching. So, but I certainly like the recruiting class. Coach Esposito's worked extremely hard at it, done a good job, and it looks like we got some talented players here that we feel good about putting out there, and I think going to help us improve our team.
Brian and then John.
You still got Alex listed, as playing multiple positions. Where do you kind of see him lining up this year? Is it just that wherever he fits in best by game?
Alex, he's certainly still swinging the bat. Looks very, very impressive to me, swinging the bat. And he'll play left field in the scrimmage today. There'll be days that we work him out daily at shortstop. At first base. I got that shortstop on my mind. There'll be days when he plays a lot of first base. And we need to try to get him ready to do that. We got a couple freshmen over there. How they react is still a little bit, we don't know. And I think that Alex is much better at first base than he showed a year ago. He just had a little bit of a tough stretch there, and we couldn't afford to keep putting him out there. But and I think down the road in professional baseball, I think first base might be in his position, might be his spot. So we're going to try to get him ready to do that. But we feel comfortable with him in left field. I think he got comfortable last year in left, and we certainly can always DH him as well.
John, Matt, and then Colin.
By my count, including Alex Testino, you have 4 outfielders listed on your roster. There have been years where you've had 4 outfielders injured at one time. Is that number concerning to you, and who are some candidates who may need to go out there?
Well, I think I got plenty of outfielders. I understand what you're saying. Obviously T.J. Hopkins and Danny Blair are 2 true outfielders. They're not going to go into the infield, and Destino is about 75% an outfielder, I guess. And so we feel good about those guys. And Danny's athletic. T.J.'s one of the more talented outfielders I've had a chance to coach. And we have some talented infielders right now that we're letting them compete on the infield. And 1 or 2 of those guys might go to the outfield. When it comes time to play, I can assure you that one of those infielders would rather be the starting left fielder than the second string shortstop. So you want to play or not? And we got enough athletic guys out there to fill those positions without any question. That's not a concern of mine. Olson's certainly a candidate that can go out there from time to time if he's not in the infield. He's very athletic. He can run like a deer. Very explosive athlete. So that's one. Carlos Cortez, obviously, is, by many folks, was touted as one of the best high school hitters in the country last year. So he's certainly working out in left field as well, and a number of other guys. We'll just see how that unfolds. It is a challenge right now to put 6 out there, with the couple injuries that we have there, with the incoming recruit. But we'll be fine. I'll have 3 good ones out there come opening day, I feel.
Matt and Colin.
With the rotation, do you look at Tyler possibly getting in the rotation, or do you want to try to keep him at closer for this year?
Well, we're gonna go through the process. I think it's way too early to make that determination. We certainly loved what he brought to the table last year when he was in the bullpen, and we're resting him a little bit this fall. I'm not going to throw as much in the scrimmages as the other guys are going to throw because he had a pretty good workload, for us last spring and certainly in the summer with Team USA. So we're going to let him continue to prepare and throw, but his outings in scrimmage play might be limited. With that being said, we want to be flexible with Tyler. He's certainly a big part of our pitching staff. Might go into the year treating him like we did Matt Price. It's Coach Tanner had a great saying: you'd rather you're one of your best pitchers. You'd rather him help you win 2 games on the weekend or win 1 game, and I like to win more than 1. So Tyler can help you do that as an All-American type closer that he is. If you're starting him, he can help you win one. That being said, we got some veteran guys in the bullpen that we feel great about. From Josh Reagan, been a great leader for us and had an incredible year for us last year. Reed Scott is the same way. A couple of these young guys that I mentioned, we feel good about their potential, and one of those guys might develop into a top flight bullpen guy. So if we feel great about our bullpen, the option's open to start Tyler. But if we feel like we need him in the back of the game, the last 3-6 outs to have a great year, that's where we'll keep him. And Tyler understands that.
Clark pitched a lot of innings last year for you guys and kind of took it off this summer. Just what have you seen from him, and what's the plan for him?
Well, he's going to go full steam ahead. He'll throw tomorrow in Mars scrimmage, and he's worked extremely hard. He's a hard worker. Him and Tyler Johnson they'll set the standard in the way that they work. Even Crow. We got some pitchers that work extremely hard, and Clark. I think the extra 10 pounds that he's put on will benefit him this year. I think Clark got a little bit tired last year toward the end of the year, and some of that might have been my fault. Maybe I extended him a little bit too much early in February and March, and certainly going to be cognizant of that this year. But he's a big part of our team and a great leader, a great kid, great character kid, great talent, great arm. He's one of the better pitchers in the country. Certainly glad he's on our team.
Matt, and then John.
With Will Crow, what does it mean having him back, and then Cody Morris as well?
Well, Cody's going to get out there today, actually. I'm excited about that. It's going to be the first time he's thrown to a hitter, and, man, going on well over a year, probably pushing 18 months or so. So he was one of the highly recruited pitchers in the country coming out of high school, and we've seen nothing in his bullpens and his preparation to prove otherwise. We think he's a big part of our pitching staff and our team, and we think he can do a lot of great things for us. And we're excited to put him out there and give him the opportunity. It's going to take him some time. Tommy John just a tough surgery to come back from, and he didn't throw any this summer. And so where Crow might be a little bit ahead of him as far as in his progression, Cody is he's going to try to get his innings this fall. And but he's a talented kid with a great arm, and we look forward to seeing him throw this fall.
John.
Kind of piggybacking on that, programs and teams are kind of pushing their arms to come back from that Tommy John surgery before 12 months. Are you pleased with kind of the way that their situations went, holding them out longer versus trying to push them back and get them ready for the end of last season?
Well, I hope. I made a couple promises to a lot of, the kids when I told Will's family that I was going to take care of him when he chose to commit to South Carolina and come here. And I felt like his professional career is certainly, with the talent that he is and the prospect he is, I can't lose sight of that as part of my responsibility to ensure that he's healthy when he leaves South Carolina. And speaking with a number of different doctors and talking to people in pro ball that have come back from that surgery, I think pushing a kid back to be active and pitch in competitive situations prior to 12 months is unfair to the kid. It's my opinion. I think it's a lot of other people's opinion too. And if it sacrificed us losing a few games last year, so be it. I think it's my job to protect Will, protect all our guys that undergo Tommy John, and not rush them back. And no, I wouldn't be able to sleep at night if you try to push a kid back in 11 months. He says he's good to go, and all of a sudden has another setback. So we follow our great doctor's advice here. We listen to people in the industry, both in pro ball and guys that have had the surgery, and we're going to be extremely conservative with our approach and to when we get them back. And when Will had that surgery, he looked me in the eye and said, Coach, I'm going to be your opening day starter in 2017. And I kind of smirked at that because I thought he would be drafted high enough to, I was concerned that he had thrown his last game at South Carolina when his injury occurred. But he's held true to his word. And he's there's no doubt in my mind, though, that protecting our kids that have that type of surgery and not rushing them back is a big part of my job, and that's my responsibility, and Coach Meyer's responsibility, and our medical team's responsibility. And we're going to be extremely conservative with guys that go under that surgery. And if, like I said, if it means, having a setback here or there, with our current team, and so be it. That's just Will's future is very, very important to us, and so is Cody Morris's, and so is any player that has that surgery. So we need to be conservative in the way that we take care of them, and we feel good about, they're 18 months, 17 months now off surgery. They're healthy, ready to go. We feel good about putting them out there now.
Rich, and then Brian.
You mentioned Clark putting on 10 pounds during the off-season program. Any other guys in particular that impressed you as far as either because they put weight on or they took weight off during the off-season?
Well, Adam Hill's put on some weight. It might not be visual to the eye because he's such a tall, lean kid, but he's put on about 15 to 20 pounds. And, I think he was just a skinny beanpole last year as a freshman, and he needed some strength. He needed some maturity, and he's worked hard in the weight room. When you have Tyler Johnson in front of you and watch the way Tyler Johnson and Clark and Will Crow and all those guys go about their business, those are great leaders for Adam to follow. And I thought that's been good for Adam, and that's the one that kind of jumps out at me. Will's body's terrific. I mean, he weighs 250 pounds, but he's a rock. He's just a big guy, and he's worked extremely hard in the weight room as well. So Billy's done an incredible job with those guys, and we didn't have many guys that we needed to take off too much weight. I think all our pitchers have been pretty physically fit, and they certainly worked extremely hard in the weight room to prepare themselves for not only this fall but this upcoming season.
Obviously, it's a luxury, but also at the same time with three very good catchers. How do you see that playing out this fall, or how do you plan to manage that in this fall and heading into the spring?
Well, it's a competition. I tell them all the time, I can only catch one of you guys, and it is a position that requires you to catch more than one over the course of 56 games. But I love all three of them. I love them all, and I'm awfully lucky to have those three guys on our team. I feel good about any one of them, and any one of them can catch opening day. They're all very, very talented and gifted, and Hunter improved greatly over the summer, playing in the summer, and Cullen we think is as talented as anybody, and he's a little bit sore right now, and Jones is coming off a little bit of an injury, but he had a good couple of weeks up there in the Cape Cod League as well. So I think we have three gifted catchers, and that are, in many ways, from a position player standpoint, the heart and soul of the team. That's a good position to have the heart and soul at, and those three guys exemplify all that this program's about. I feel great about all three of them.
Matt.
With Schmidt and Crow and Destino and a lot of guys coming back that contributed last year, do you feel like you maybe know what you have more at this point this year as opposed to last year at this time?
You never know how your young guys are going to react. I'm not going to put much pressure on them and say, hey, we got to have this guy do this, or, there's some unknowns with the freshmen. I do feel I know some of those freshmen are going to help us. Which ones and how much, that's to be determined. But I feel very, very comfortable with our veteran guys that are back. I think we have the makings to have a pretty darn good team, and we're going to have to do all the other things right and work hard and continue to improve this fall. But we got some guys that I think are pretty good playing baseball, and I need to put them in the right spot and give them the right opportunities. But there is some familiarity with our returners that I feel great about, both in on-field talent and locker room leadership. And I sit up here a little bit maybe this September a little bit more comfortable knowing what we have maybe than I did a year ago, because there were so many unknowns last year with a lot of new players. This year we have some returning guys that I feel are very gifted and have done some good things for us up to this point.
John.
The NCAA and the ACC have pulled some games out of the state of North Carolina. Y'all have a game scheduled in North Carolina for this year, neutral site game. Is that in jeopardy at all, or will y'all still play the Tar Heels up in Charlotte?
Well, that's for that's for some jurisdiction way over my head. You know, we do have great leadership at this university. President Pastides and Coach Tanner are guys that I know are having dialogue about that important issue right now. It's kind of my job to get my team prepared to play for the 2017 season, and that's what my focus is going to be this fall. You know, but as you guys know, our university is all about inclusion, and you know, we want to include everyone. We want to be as diverse as we possibly can be. Certainly don't want to have any, you know, very non-discriminatory in everything that we do, and you know, but that issue is a very sensitive issue. It's for discussion, you know, at the leadership of this university and with Coach Tanner and President Pastides and our Board of Trustees, and they're all terrific leaders, and I'm gonna coach my team and I'm gonna follow their lead on that issue.
Anything else for Coach Holbrook? Thank you, Coach. I appreciate it.